Ezra chapter 3, I read from verse 1. Are you okay? All right. And when the 7th month was come, and the children of Israel were in the cities, the people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem. Then stood up Joshua, the son of Josadak, and his brethren, the priest, and Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and his brethren, and builded the altar of the God of Israel to offer burnt offerings thereon, as it is written in the law of Moses, the man of God. I will pause there because that was the issue. Then let's move to verse 6 now. From the first day of the 7th month began they to offer what? Burnt offerings unto the Lord, but the foundation of the temple of God was not yet laid. Now let me commit some of you, those of you that are very fast with Bible reading, break your Bibles into these several scriptures. Then you're going to read for me one after the other. Number 1, Luke chapter 9 verse 23. As fast as you can. Mark chapter 10 verse 23. If you are writing, you write it down. I repeat again. Luke chapter 9 verse 23. Mark chapter 10 verse 21. Mark chapter 8 verse 34. Matthew chapter 16 verse 24. Matthew chapter 10 verse 38. Luke chapter 14 verse 27. Then Matthew chapter 7 verse 13 to 14. Let me quickly repeat that scriptures again. Let me take it from the Luke chapter 9 verse 23. Mark chapter 10 verse 21. Mark chapter 8 verse 34. Matthew chapter 16 verse 24. Matthew chapter 10 verse 38. Then Luke chapter 14 verse 27. Then Matthew chapter 7 verse 13 to 14. I don't know how many of you are already there. If you are there, any of them, I would like you to read. But what you're going to find in these verses of the Bible, they are Jesus was repeating the same thing, but at different ways. But he was meaning the same thing and saying the same thing from different, this synoptic gospel. They were all saying the same thing. They were all saying the same thing. Now, those of you that are already there, if you want to read, you can read for me.
Matthew 9:23.
Matthew 9:23.
And he said unto them all, if any man come after me, let him deny himself and take up the cross and follow me.
Another person again.
Luke 10:21.
Okay. You have to be fast.
Then Jesus, beholding him, loved him and said unto him, one thing thou lackest, go the way, sell whatsoever thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven. And come, take up the cross and follow me.
Another person, if you are there, any of the verses, just read for me. Take the microphone, give him the microphone.
Luke 14:27.
Luke 14:27.
And whosoever doeth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple.
All right. Yes. Another one.
Mark 8:34.
Mark 8:34.
And when he has called the people unto him with his disciple, also he said unto them, whatsoever will come after me, let him deny himself and take up the cross and follow me.
All right. Okay. Do we have another?
Matthew 16:24.
Huh?
Matthew 16:24.
Okay, Matthew 16:24.
Then Jesus said unto the disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take his cross and follow me.
All right. Yeah. I think the last one now. Who's taking any other one? If you are following Matthew 10:38, or we have Matthew 10:38.
Matthew 10:38.
Yes.
And he said, and he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me.
Right. Matthew 7:13-14.
Matthew 7:13-14.
Let her read. Okay. Can you? Okay, go ahead. Give her the mic. Give her the mic, please. Fast. We don't have time.
I read Matthew 7:13-14. Stay in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. 14. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it.
All right. You see these scriptures, they are all saying the same thing. And I will come to talk about that Matthew chapter 7, verse 13 and 14. Let me quickly share with you, because of the content of the month that we are in now, as God has spoken to us, let me share with you a message that is titled, Assessing the Covenant of the Seventh. Assessing the covenant of the seventh true sacrifice. Assessing the covenant of the seventh true sacrifice. Don't forget that God have already spoken to us and said that the seven, whether the 7th month, the 7th day, the 7th year, but number 7 is a spiritual number, and that heaven does not joke with. You must understand the importance and the significance of the 7th number when it comes to God's agenda. And at the beginning of this month, the Lord started to give us some, insight into what the number 7 is established to bring to us in our life. Now, number 1, the number 7 is the number of assembly. Assembly. You remember what the scripture said in Hebrews 10:25, that we as believers are not designed or destined to forsake the assembly of ourselves. Because it is in the place of assembly that our unity is established with God. Take your mind back to when God made Adam and Eve in the garden. He gave them assignment. After defining their responsibility, remember he said to them, I am establishing an assembly, a place of fellowship that you can meet with me, where we can establish our what? Our unity, our togetherness, so that in this place of togetherness you can do what? Find strength. There's a song that was sung, or that we used to sing. We have come unto thee, Lord. We have come unto thee, Lord. We have come to the Savior. We have come to what?
Hallelujah.
So every time you come to fellowship, what do you come to do? You come to renew strength. You come to add strength. You come to activate strength. Bible said the joy of the Lord is our strength. The place of fellowship is the place where you access God's divine joy. And when you receive the joy of the joy of the Lord is turned to stirring up strength in your life. Slap your neighbor in the hand. Say, you will not leave this place without strength today. Slap your neighbor in the hand. Look at him on the eyeball. Said, neighbor, get ready for strength here now. The Lord is about to rejuvenate your strength. The Lord is about to stir up your strength. Why do you need to renew your strength? The anointing of yesterday is not for today's work. The strength of last week is not enough for today's work. God expects that. The Bible says in him we live and in him we move and in him we have our being. Every week is a greater week. There is no better last week for a child of God. Every week your week is better and greater. There is somebody at the sound of my voice now. This week will be better than last week. This week will be greater than last week. You believe in, let heaven hear your loudest amen in the house. What God gave you last week, this week all will be better.
Amen.
And that is why, because of that, God expects the renewal of strength, the renewal of your spiritual stamina to be able to handle the better, the bigger and the greater that is coming this week. That is why neglecting the presence of God and fellowship is a tragedy. Hebrews chapter 10 verse 25 said, not forsaking the assembly of the brethren as the manner of some. We are not among the some, because we understand the value of the presence of God. Is a place for strength. My life, my destiny, everything that has to do with me. When I enter a new week, this week I expect something better, something greater, something sweeter. The testimony of this week will be greater than that of last week. And that is why God is committed to increasing your strength in his house. I prophesy strength upon you right now.
Jesus.
Now, first of all, understand that the covenant binding number 7 is the covenant of assembly. Assembly is a place of fellowship, a place where we meet with God. Understand that. And wherever we meet with God, we come to establish unity, togetherness. God value the place, value togetherness. The place of unity is a place of power. So every time we come to fellowship, we come to be ignited, endued with power from on high. You remember in Luke chapter 19 or so, Jesus said to his disciples, now I go unto the Father, but you're going to tarry here. All of you are going to gather here, assemble here in fellowship until you are endued with power from on high. In Acts chapter 2, Jesus, when he ascended, he instructed the disciples. He said, you have to gather here. You have to be in the place of assembly. And while you are gathering, you don't just have to go out like that. You just don't have to encounter the power of the world like that. You have to gather in the place of fellowship. And I will send unto you the promise of the Father, the promise of the Spirit. And the Bible made us to understand why they were all gathered together in one place. In the upper room, something happened. The Bible says suddenly there was a rushing mighty wind, like a place of fire, like a tongue of fire. It filled all of them, and fire came upon them. Fire came, and they began to speak in tongues. They received strength and power, and they went out into the world. The power they were afraid of were not afraid of them. They went out to increase as never before. They went out to progress as never before. They went out to be blessed as never before. Every time you attend fellowship, that week will be better and greater for you. Every time you attend fellowship, it brings increase into your life. Every time you attend the house of God, it brings renewal into your spirit. Is there anybody here expecting some increase this week? Make a joyful noise unto the Lord in this house. So you must understand that one of the covenant is a covenant of assembly together and strength. And now that brings me now to 1 Kings chapter 8 verse 2. We've established that another thing that goes with the covenant of seventh is strength. If you read that 1 Kings 8:2, the Bible talks about the 7th month is the month Etanim. And the word etanims means strength and courage. Strength and courage. Drawn from the place of assembly. The other thing that follows the number 7 or the seventh covenant is perfection. 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 Perfection speaks of wholeness. Perfection speaks of complete. Perfection speaks of accuracy. Perfection speaks of totality. Then the other thing, the last thing that is tied to the seventh covenant is accomplishment. God is committed to accomplishing every work that is started in his will in the 7th month. And that was why every time God begin anything in your life, in a year, in a month, in a week, something always happens when it gets to the 7th. The 7th day, the 7th month, the 7th week, the 7th year. If you are a spiritually sensitive child of God, you always follow the number 7 in your life. You will know the kind of prayer to pray on how to commit God, because God is tied to the covenant of 7. If you are spiritually sensitive, you will be cautious of 7. Oh Lord, this is the 7th day. You establish a declaration in the realm of the spirit. I am not permitted to break down before my breakthrough. Bible says, he who began a good work in you, he will finish it even until the day of Christ. God is not only the author, he's also the finisher. If he's the author of that which you are pursuing right now, get ready. He will be there to ensure that he accomplished that vision which he started in your life. Upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Jesus looked at Peter. He said, Satan have desired to have you and to sift you like a wheat. He said, but I have prayed for you. And when thou art strengthened, revive the brethren. Why was the concentration on Peter? Because Peter was a specific vision designed to give foundation to the disciples of Jesus. And that's why he called him Peter. He said, you are the rock. You are the one that the church will be taking strength from, because I have empowered you as the foundation of the disciples. But Satan desired to have you and to separate you from this destiny. But I stood in the place of intercession for you to prevent you not to enter this temptation. And when you are revived, use the testimony of this your revival to strengthen others. I speak to somebody at the sound of my voice. This 7th month, what God has started in your life, get ready. Before this month runs out, you are going to meet with helpers that will take you to the accomplishment of that vision. Whatsoever you have started in the name of the Lord, every intention, endeavor, target and goals and visions that you started some time ago, and you don't know how it's going to happen, how you're going to complete it, but I sense in my spirit the anointing to complete it, the anointing to finish it. Amen. If you lay the foundation, you will encounter the dedication. Amen. If you lay the foundation, you will witness the dedication. Amen. Because you the foundation, you will not die before the dedication. Amen. Somebody at the sound of my voice, God is increasing your strength. Amen. God is giving you accomplishment. Amen. You will get to the accomplishment of that target. Wave your hand and let heaven hear your loudest amen right now. Amen. Hallelujah. Assessing the covenants of the 7th through sacrifice. Now, because of time, I want you to go back again to that book of Ezra, chapter 3. It all began in the place of assembly. Now, the people understood the importance of the number 7. The Bible says in the 7th month, they knew that this is a month of renewal. It's a month of rededication and consecration. And in the 7th month, beginning from the first day, the Bible said the people started to assemble themselves together as one. Because the power of God is not assessed in the place of division, in the place of disunity. The power of God is not assessed. They knew we have to first of all establish an assembly. We have to first of all come together and bring ourselves as one. God have to see us as one family. God have to see us as one man. Not as men, but as a man. God has to see us as a one figure. Then when that is done, every other thing can be respected by God once togetherness is established in the assembly of God. You remember he said, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, what happened? I am there in their midst. Not that we gathered for different aims. We didn't gather for different purposes. We didn't gather because of different goals. We gather because of one purpose. One divine assignment is what brought us together. And God said, I will be there in the midst. We are bounded by the same covenant, binded by the same blood, binded by the same spirit, binded by the same instruction. Something happened, by the way, in the book of Genesis 11. If you have read it, you will discover that God valued the unity of the builders of the tower. God ignored their motives. They had a bad motive because they were not guided. But the emphasis of God in the midst of this man was that God says, see that these people are one. Nobody was looking at their own heights. Nobody was looking at what they have achieved. Nobody was looking at their qualification and their backgrounds. Everybody, because of the purpose, let us build this tower. That was their goal. Send me message, I won't look at myself that I senior you. Age was not considered. Education background was not considered. Wealth was not considered. Achievement was not considered. Levels of connections were not considered. Everybody became one because of the assignment. Let us build this tower. God did not magnify their motive. He says, see, these people, they were one. And God said, let's visit them. Let's visit them. I want to pay them a visit. What invited God? What gave God invitation to visit those people? God said they are one. It was the oneness that is inviting me. These people are one. So because they are one, let me pay them a visit. It is that oneness that is attracting me.